been vaping for 2 years. And then you get that guy. you get the guy.
You're actually sick.
You know what I mean, bro? And you have the vape all next to them, all the vapes they've saved over the years.
Well, you get them on the hospital bed, and then
Yeah. Just the vape next to them, and them just on life support. And then in the end of the in the end of the videos they go, quit vaping, authorised by the Victorian government, Australian government of Canberra.
Authorised by the Australian government, Canberra.
That's a crazy actor.
And it ends with a flat line.
See, kids, this is why you can't be vaping in schools.
No vaping in schools, kids. Let's go. Welcome to Talking Trophies. Nah, I'm joking. We didn't start. Yeah. Why you laugh for? Why'd you laugh? That's my intro. Make sure you guys do hit the subscribe button. We got a banging episode today. Today, we got a special guest. But before I introduce the special guest, Damien Kaz, what do you say?
You know the vibes, baby. We are back. You know the drill. Hey, you know the drill. It's your favorite duo, Talking Trophies. We got the cameraman behind us, doing their thing. But hey, do you want to introduce our guest?
All right. We got a creative. You know, apparently we're creators. I was told before. I did a little pitch and she told me I was a creative too. But today we got an unbelievable creator. She's worked with
Phenomenal
big companies, but she's doing her own thing too. She has her own business. She sews from scratch. She knows how to do the actual deal. She doesn't just print a logo on top and says this is the design.
No, hey, it's more than just a name.
Yeah.
More than just a name.
And creator is in her name. We got the one and only JaidaTheCreator, but I'm going to say something. Her name is Emma.
Whoa!
How do you know that? You know the vibes?
No way.
Not
No way.
No, you actually did your
Jada,
research.
Thanks for coming on. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
My real name is Clarence.
we had a bit of banter before we even started. We spoke for like 20, 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Got to know you a little bit, and we're very confident this episode is going to be a banger. So make sure you guys do hit the subscribe button, and also check out JaidaTheCreator. That's your app on everything, right?
Yeah. And then my brand is Inner Sanctum. So
Yeah, check out her brand too. You got one more thing that's left, one more product that's left on the market, because everything was out of stock.
yeah, so there was like about 2 things left, but I'm keeping those for myself because they were my favorite things. So
Nice.
yeah.
That's the heroin, yeah.
That's going to beat that, don't worry.
I'm playing.
Anyways,
Guys, a bit of
Jaida,
banter.
tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got into creating. And you're pretty young. Tell us your age.
I'm 20. I'm turning 21 this year.
And you've done so much already. So tell us a little bit. Just give us a quick, short bio about who you are and what you do.
Yeah. So I started out about 16. I studied creative industries. I was kind of learning photography, videography. I thought that's where I wanted to go. And then I don't know how I've been trying to pinpoint the moment, but it kind of led into fashion. I studied for 6 months, and then lockdown happened. I was like, fuck, I don't know if I can swear. Fuck this.
Yeah, you can say what you want.
I'm just going to keep kind of teaching myself. And yeah, that's kind of from there, everything's really happened. So just been making my own clothes and teaching myself through trial and error and working with brands, working with other creatives. But yeah.
By the way, she did make this outfit.
For me, I don't know nothing about what it takes to make even clothing or anything like that. Like, how did you train yourself in this field? What got you to there?
I think one of the biggest kind of hacks that I found was taking apart things that I already owned. So, you know, it's kind of like a reverse method of you take it apart and then you kind of understand how it was put together in the first place. Also, I don't really make patterns, which is a pretty important part of fashion design. I'll either freehand it or I'll trace off of a pattern of a clothing item that I already own and then modify it to my own liking. So another hack there as well.
Hey, the vibe I'm getting as well. You don't like wasting material. You don't like wasting stuff.
Yeah, you're very environmentally friendly, Jaida.
As we can see, greenhouse, mate. Is that the triangle?
Yeah, it's the greenhouse climate change.
Climate change.
Tell us, what's this sustainability stuff? Like, you're really into recycling clothes, and like, obviously, we were speaking about like, just like for example, people would make clothing, and then they'd have like leftovers, and then
Yeah.
you'd make like an outfit out of that. What got you into the sustainability stuff?
I think now with the fashion industry, it's actually the second biggest contributor to climate change, like just environmental problems in general. And I hate to drone on about it, but it is important. We need to be more conscious about it. It's being taught in fashion school now. You can't not study sustainability. So I was learning it when I was studying, and I was like, this is really important. I want to somehow implement that into my work. So what I do, I source fabrics from the thrift store, donated, all secondhand, and then I just kind of get inspired by the unique fabrics, and then that leads into whatever garment I end up making. But yeah, it's just really important. You see the impact that it's had, and it's all the impact is it's not in first world countries either. So, the way I see it, if it's affecting first world countries, then they'll actually do shit about it. But when it's not, it's just kind of pushed to the side and it's not talked about as much. It's because, privileged people aren't experiencing it firsthand. So there's now I'm going to try and kind of push that in with the opportunities that I have. But yeah.
So on the real, on sad as it is, I didn't know that fact that that industry actually contributes the second most, you said, right?
Yeah.
So you're telling me it's worse than cows and that, all that agriculture stuff. You're telling me fashion's up there with them.
Yeah, I don't know what the first or the third are, but I know that the fashion is the second biggest, and I would say greenhouse gases and factories and stuff, mining is the first or something.
It's those bloody sweatshops, isn't it?
It actually is, and it's horrible for the people working in there, the ethical situations. They're not getting paid. They're working. Women in sweatshops will literally wash their hair at the factory because they don't have time to in between shifts, and they're getting fucking peanuts just so they can get some food for their family and shit. It's actually, it's pretty fucked. But and fast fashion doesn't care. They're just money hungry. They're not going to these factories and seeing that firsthand. So it's just the constant cycle of what are we doing? How are we getting better? These fast fashion companies are now furthermore using sustainable lines as a form of greenwashing, which is pretending to be sustainable. If your whole line is not sustainable from the origin of the fabric to the manufacturing to the getting it to the store, then you're not sustainable. You're faking it as a marketing tactic. So yeah.
You went a little bit hard over there with the companies.
Shots fired.
Shots were fired. Shots
Yeah,
were fired.
I
But
don't
look,
fuck with fast fashion.
we do have a couple sponsors that you might have targeted through that.
Wait.
Anyways, hey Jaida, I wanna know, for example, how these brands did reach out to you. You've done collaborations with Champion. You spoke about Addidas as well.
Yeah.
How did they reach out to you, and was that the first thing you mentioned to them? Did you tell them, hey, listen, a part of my thing is I'm trying to be, environmentally friendly, can do the sustainable clothing and make my materials from, recycled and sustainable. I don't know these big words, but you know what I'm talking about. You know what message I'm trying to deliver.
So with the brand collaborations and campaigns, they kind of reach out to you through an agency. And I think once you have a kind of good portfolio of work that you're putting out, these brands will find you anyway. It kind of speaks for yourself. And I think they're already aware that what I'm doing is with an intention of being sustainable because of the fabrics I'm using. I'll make stuff out of bedding or pillowcases or blankets and stuff. So it's pretty obvious and out there in their face. And usually what they're trying to do aligns with what I'm doing anyway. So it kind of all works out pretty cohesively.
Which was the first brand to reach out to that you were yo, this is happening?
Champion. So I was 16. Champion. I don't even know how they found me. I just made 2 pairs of pants and they were pretty shit, but they reached out to me and they really believed in me. And that campaign was, I always see it as the start of everything for me because they really put me on. At 16, I was in stores and they let me wear my own designs. Mind you, someone who just left fashion school and didn't really know what they were doing. They let me wear my own designs and they really put me out there. So I'm really grateful to them, and they continue to kind of support me through my career as well.
Nice.
So, yeah.
The first time, Jaida, I met you was after the OutWst show.
Yeah.
You came out after the show. It was a nice show. We actually made an episode on that show. And then you came out and then they're like, give it up to our fashion designers, you know, creators.
going
of the show."
crazy.
Everyone's gone crazy. And then you came out, Jada the Creator, you G'd up. You know, you were a bit lit. You know, and
A bit.
and you know, you were saying, and then we asked you, we're like, oh, what does this mean to you? And you know, you were talking in depth, you know, starting the what's called that show, the vision, and then working with the other fashion designers as well, and sewing from scratch and making that line.
Yeah.
How'd you get into, for example, OutWst? Did they reach out to you, or you were already friends with them, sort of, and they're like, let me work with these guys?
Yeah, so we've been friends, I think, maybe like 3 years now or 4 years. I don't know. But it was like we were all just kind of kicking it. We're always on our creative stuff. And then obviously, I don't know, it just makes sense when you get along with people and you both have similar paths and similar intentions. It's like, you know, why not just come together? And it's more powerful in numbers anyway. The boys kind of reached out to me about it, and, you know, they were looking at recruiting someone like a girl or something else. So yeah, it just made sense.
Was that the first ever? was that the first ever like event that you? Was that your first event?
No. So before that runway, I actually went to Sydney for Oz Fashion Week.
Okay.
Not many people know because I didn't really put it out there too much afterwards. But yeah, I showed my first collection there, and it was really insane. You know, we stuffed like 2 bags full of my designs and took them on an airplane with us, and it was like, I don't know, it was a bit unorganized and hectic, and I actually got sick. To this day, I don't know if I had COVID or not, but I was at this runway. I couldn't even talk.
Yeah, let's just spread it. Why not? No,
Let's take the COVID from Melbourne to Sydney.
Yeah, but I couldn't even talk. I had to get someone else to like kind of direct the models for me and stuff, and it was all like, you know, we went up there not knowing what to expect, but the end result of like seeing all these models wearing all these pieces that I spent so much time on was like, I don't know, it was a really impactful moment for me. I was just kind of looking at it all like, shit, I did that. But
yeah. Jaida, I want to know the process of all of this. You know, you do this runway. I know you're not designing only the clothes.
Yeah.
Because I understand you got to do the makeup as well. You know, obviously you're not doing the makeup, but you want the models to have a certain look when you're running a show, you know? You want them wearing a certain style of shoes. I want to know what's going on. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm going to sound very ignorant here.
Yeah.
What's going on when they run on the runways? There's a guy wearing an umbrella on his head. You know what I mean? But like, it's like kukarachi clothes. Like,
Rayan, this is fashion, mate.
Yeah, but I want to know the difference between runway clothes and streetwear clothes. Like, because companies do make clothes that you can wear, you can actually wear, and then there's a look that you go for. There's a difference between the two, right?
That's a really good question, and I'll explain it to you in like, maybe the sense of like high fashion. When they do their runways, they invest a lot of money into that, and they're not actually really profiting. It's just more, it's kind of rooted in like an ego of like showing off what they can do, but it's also, depending on certain designers, it's more so through the lens of art. So that's kind of, the runway is kind of the place where they get to express their most outward designs and, you know, just go completely crazy without limitations. It's also, they also invite in, say, buyers that are going to like get these pieces. These pieces will be like a simmered down version that they would sell in retail. So they invite out buyers, press, PR. It's all like, it's all a lot of marketing and yeah.
Do you lean more to the runway design, or do you lean more on the streetwear design?
So obviously my pieces are a bit more out there, and I do love the runway design, but it doesn't really make you money. Yeah. So what I'm focusing on is trying to find a middle road between just your everyday wear and that high fashion runway look, so people can kind of wear something that is still practical but is exciting and is different and unique.
I wanna ask you a question. Look, it is a hot take.
Yeah.
And if you don't want to answer this, you don't have to answer this. But
hit me.
Do you feel like the fashion industry is pushing too much boundaries with the clothing? And like sometimes you're looking at some of the stuff, like I'm not gonna lie to you, sometimes I walk down Melbourne and there's a bloke wearing an outfit thinking he's on some high fashion stuff, and they spent like $6,000-7,000 on the outfit, and I said, bro, I can spend $40 and look better than you. Do you feel like it's pushing too much? Do you know what I mean?
No,
Do you feel like it's
this is
pushing too
good.
much?
This is good. So I think, let me have a think actually.
I'll say it in a simpler tone. Walking down Fitzroy.
Mm-hmm.
And then you know how there's the people that are into fashion or they study fashion and stuff. And they're just wearing the most outrageous clothes.
Yeah.
And they actually think they're doing something. Do you feel like this is like fashion's doing too much sometimes? And simple is better sometimes?
So what he's saying
Yes.
is like sometimes you'll see it.
Mate, we don't need to translate here,
Yeah,
mate.
no.
I'm gonna translate because you're not speaking proper English, mate.
All right,
You know why? Because you're talking from your. I'm saying like sometimes I can see an outfit or we can see an outfit, and because we're not in that fashion world,
Yeah.
we be like, "Whoa, that's a bit much," or
Yeah,
"That's
no, I get you.
yeah."
I think fashion it's art, it's an expression, so it's subjective. It's open to everyone's opinion. Some people might think, oh, that's like crazy, but if you don't understand something or the intention behind it, then we instantly will go into like a mode of kind of judgment and stuff. Maybe someone with a deeper understanding of that thing might appreciate it more, and it only goes how deep your knowledge runs into that. But on the other hand, there is definitely like I'm gonna name names because I don't mind, but I think Demna with Balenciaga, his approach to fashion with like irony and stuff, I think he took it a bit too far. It just got really cheap and it just became a bit of a sellout in a sense. You can wear something simple, but what makes good fashion is A, the craftsmanship, and B, the practicality of the garment, I do sometimes love to make an experimental piece that kind of loses all practicality, because one of the kind of main things about fashion is function before form. But when you get experimental, sometimes form comes before function. It's just, once again, people expressing themselves, and I think people should be able to express themselves however they want. But, if if it's a bit more out there and they feel comfortable doing it, fine. That's good for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you aspire like? What's your vibe on like what you actually want to excel in? Like, do you want to be like one of the biggest names in the whole world, or are you more happy with like you as a creator being the biggest names, or were you more happy with like some designers can be a bit more behind the scenes, and it's their brand that's actually more projected, or like what's your take on it? Do you want to be recognized as like one of the best, or do you want your brand to be recognized as one of the best?
That's a really good question too. I'm kind of trying to figure that out right now, because to begin with, I was more so the face of what I was doing. And I'm kind of seeing how I feel about being more behind the scenes right now, because I did get a bit overwhelmed, especially last year. I was like, I was freaked out about like, people recognizing me and I don't know them. That's kind of like, it's like, what the hell? I was...
You just walk into somewhere, everyone's just staring at you like, I've never seen you people in my life.
Not like that, but like just...
Or you were probably just smashed when you met him.
No, I think...
Hey, oh my God, we should hang out sometime. I'll play.
No, kind of, actually. It's like, I don't like people having an idea of who I am and then making it all up in their mind and then meeting me and either being disappointed or being surprised that I'm a whole different person to what they thought I am. I just want people to, I just want to let my art speak for itself. And, if you meet me and you get to know me, that's a bonus, because, but yeah.
But I'm not going to lie. I feel like you are both, like, for example, like even when we met you that day, you being you, but you're just different energies. Right now, you're a bit more calmer, but that day, like, and we're a bit
You can understand she was lit at the time as well,
No,
right?
we're a bit more energized, obviously. Like now you're getting to know us, like, that day we were recording.
We're probably more serious.
We were more serious.
Yeah.
But that day you were like, oh, yo, I just finished. And you know what I mean? Like, and now when we get to see you, you're like, oh, damn.
A bit more mellow, yeah. I think, we all have our different energies and different feelings, and, whatever you capture or happen to encounter at the time is what you get. But definitely having opportunities like this to just kind of talk about what's on my mind and the energy I'm in at that time, like, that's important. And, it's really good for me.
Do you really get are you big on like some people are really big on their image in the public eye and stuff like that? Like, what's your vibe on it? Like, some people, I don't know. I
just want people to know that like I always have good intentions with this stuff, and like I'm the only way I could explain myself, the best way I could explain myself, is I'm just passionate about what I do in my art, and I'm not too concerned about my image. It honestly kind of freaks me out. I don't like you know, being in the public eye, it's kind of scary. Like,
But I don't know. I feel like, but the thing is, you're genuine. You know what I mean? Look, none of this motivational stuff, but you're genuine. Like, you actually make your stuff. Like, you love the industry.
Yeah,
like, you love fashion.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
that's what I want to get across.
And there's nothing wrong with you, but like at the same time, I feel like your personality does, like, it does complement that. You know?
Yeah.
And if you being you, like, just be yourself. It complements the fashion because you make your things from scratch. You love the fashion industry, and just articulate yourself in fashion.
Yeah. No, I agree.
You're welcome for that motivation. But
you.
Jaida, I wanna. Hey, you spoke about something before, before we recorded, about potentially going to New York and Paris for fashion. What's going on there? This is exclusive.
Yeah, damn. Now we're putting it out there.
Are we not?
Even, you know what? Even it could be like dream. It could be like places you've always wanted to.
She's going there, man.
Oh, you're going there?
She
okay,
living
we're just
there,
airing
man.
it. Nice.
Go, Jaida.
Living is a bit stretched, but that's like definitely in the books in the next few years. I've just really, the first priority is to go there and actually experience these places and see if they really are what they're supposedly cut out to be. You know, New York and Paris especially, I feel like, are capitals of fashion, and there's like such great communities and movements there where people are freely expressing themselves, and, you know, as they say, more opportunities but more competition. In terms of competition, I don't really think someone is in competition with other people if they're truly doing something unique. The only person you should be in competition with is yourself. So in that aspect, I feel like I'd be all right if I keep just doing my own unique thing and expressing myself genuinely. But yeah, in regards to Paris and New York, I am going soon. I'm not going to put the dates out there, but I'm talking to people from there, and hopefully, you know, it'll result in some good connections and collaborations and just further cementing myself in places other than Australia.
I'm not gonna lie, I heard some mixed stuff about Paris. People either they love it, or
Yeah.
they really
No, me
hate it. Like,
too.
they have a hatred about it.
I feel like we tend to over romanticize these places, and like, once again, why I said I have to go there and experience these for myself to make that own decision.
You know what you're giving me?
What?
You're giving me Milan vibes.
I mean, we were supposed to go Milan as well.
Italy.
We'll see, but I don't know. There's really great manufacturers and stuff there as well, so that could be cool to check out in terms of like ready to wear lines and stuff. But I will say, just because something says it's made in Italy or something doesn't mean it's good. There are leather tanneries there that treat their workers horribly, and it's just But
Ooh, okay, you ready?
So you're an activist.
Hey.
no.
You're a designer and activist. You're gonna pick one or the other, all right? No. Hey, I was gonna say, like, okay, imagine the biggest deal of your life, the dream deal, but they said, hey, you gotta stop speaking about the activist stuff. You gotta stop speaking out.
No,
10, you're gonna get like, it's a $30 million contract project. Everything's coming your way. Everything. They're going, but hey, they're not saying don't believe in it, whatever, and everything's being ethically made, but they say just don't speak about it. We don't want that over us.
No, because then that's taking away like my freedom of speech, you know, and being able to talk about what I believe in. And I think it's not good, and I'm trying to get better at it, but I'll always put art before money. As much as I need to eat, I need to pay rent. Like, being genuine and being able to speak freely about what I believe in is more important to me. And like, I hope that I don't ever put money before, you know, my core beliefs and stuff, you know.
Hey, JaidaTheCreator, Jaida the realist.
Yeah.
Jaida the realist.
But look, this is a bit of a hot take too, Jaida, but I reckon, you know what you should do?
Everything's a hot take today, brother.
No, this was another hot take.
I don't know what's hot anymore.
But
Every time he says it, it's actually good.
a hot take.
Because look, I reckon, look, I'm not saying get a sweatshop, but every time you do a bit of that stuff, just plant a couple of trees in the backyard. So you're saving the environment.
No.
I'm joking, Jaida. Anyways, hey, I want to speak.
Sick, bro.
I want to speak to you about the brainstorming.
Yes.
How do you, like, for example, how do you set up the brainstorming? Because, as I said, I do a bit of journalism behind the scenes. You do a lot of brainstorming on Pinterest. You get, you get the ideas in Pinterest, the makeup, the clothing, what you like, what you don't like, even footwear. Is that one of the places you do brainstorm? And then like, how do you brainstorm like an idea?
Yeah, so you did do your research.
Brother, are you a researcher or a stalker?
He's not wild.
Because hey, look, I love talking trophies and I like what I do.
Personal investigator.
This is for our viewers, you know. How does the brainstorming happen? For example, because maybe someone that's watching, you know, might be
respect
following you
Yeah.
or following that fashion stuff.
Yeah.
How do you brainstorm?
Definitely I do love Pinterest, but I am trying to cut down as well because I feel like when you're constantly seeing art is essentially like iterations of something that already exists. Most of the time you're not creating something completely new. Like, you know, maybe you'll create a black dress and it's different to all the other black dresses, but it's still an iteration of that thing that's existed before it. So yeah, Pinterest is great. You see things and then you can build off of those things that you see or take aspects of those things, aspects that you like, and then kind of merge all those things into your own thing. But I think just trying to take inspiration from everyday things. For my first collection, I took a lot of inspiration from nature based like silhouettes and patterns and colors and stuff. But I mean, recently me and my housemate, we just literally a few nights ago, we're starting to think about the next collection. We just kind of sat down and just started talking about what do people want to see more of, or not even that, just what do we want to create for ourselves as well. And, you know, because we're thinking about manufacturing now and ready to wear, what can we deliver that's going to be the highest quality and still really interesting and fun, but something that people will still be able to wear in everyday life. And we were just kind of sketching and getting color palettes up, and you know, it kind of all happens organically and it comes together in a way. And yeah, we ended up just after maybe a few hours of like sitting on the floor sketching and talking about ideas, we ended up with some really cool stuff that we're probably going to go through with. So I think, yeah, even just having someone that that is creative, that you can just bounce ideas off of, it's always so important, you know.
Nice.
Yeah, I find a lot of my designs in the past as well have been inspired by my friends and like their own personal style or stuff like that. So inspiration and the creative process can really come from anywhere.
Does it take the same amount of time frame to actually get something like from a brainstorming element to your first draft of it or whatever it is?
What do you mean same amount
Like
of time?
from like, does it like, what's the time frame look like?
I mean, it differs depending on the garment. So, for example, I just finished a custom job that I did with my friend. He's an artist, and we just kind of, it started out like, all right, we want to do a shoot, and then we're like, well, I can make clothes too, so like, why don't I do a custom? I don't always do customs, but I'm open to it. And we're kind of like, oh, maybe we should do a puffer. Like, I was kind of trying to dig deeper with him. I'm like, what represents you? What is, you know, what's in line with you? What's a message you can get through? And yeah, we kind of, from there, maybe a couple days, we got an idea, and then we went and got the fabrics another day, and then over about 3 days, I finished making that puffer jacket. So yeah, it can be maybe about a 6-day process, 3 days of like ideation and planning, and then 3 days or 4 days of the actual making of the piece.
So you see, when people are trying to buy stuff, now you can see why price is at a certain price.
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone's like, I'm not gonna lie, when you get friends and stuff, everyone's trying to get something cheaper or whatever. We're touching on this before, but like, this is why, you know, prices are the way they are, especially with creatives and artists, is because like, it actually takes time. It takes time.
When you're making I think some people, it doesn't really sink in. Like, you're actually making that piece from the ground up. You're going and sourcing those fabrics. You're putting your like mental energy into, okay, how can I make this?
In that time, you're doing it. Yeah.
That's why that whole price for that whole process has to come into the final product. So
with that, but like, for example, you're saying that, and I can understand, for example, why that might cost that much. But when it's big brands that have just their machines that are running them and they're charging you $700, $800 for a shirt, that's when I begin to question
it's the brand.
Like, I understand your one, like you're literally doing it all by hand. You're seeing, okay, there's a bad stitching here, or I need to fix this up, or I need to work on this. That's why I differ. Like, I don't buy these big brands because I know, I'm like, bro, it's being made by a machine. Yeah. But if it's something made by hand, I'll be willing to pay for 100%. It and for the service, you know.
See, that's interesting because a lot of people believe like a lot of these gums are made by machines. With screen printing and embroidering, yes, there are machines that kind of automatically do it. But with sewing, you need someone to operate the machine. Hence sweatshops, hence all of that stuff. So these pieces are still made by someone. You don't have like automatic sewing machines. So they're still made by people. And yeah, but either way, brands pricing pieces at unreasonable, insane prices of like $700 for a t-shirt or something, that's literally just the branding and their marketing, and like maybe they're a luxury brand and they're just greedy, because you see the retail price and then you see the markdowns. If that piece is still available for sales, they're marking it down like 80%, and you're like, what? How are they doing that? How do they have the money to? It's because it didn't even cost that much to make in the first place. It's just that their branding and marketing is so good.
It doesn't mean that the creativity wasn't there for the product, but there's just someone higher up that just wants to get that bread. From it. Yeah.
Jaida, before we do wrap up, I want to know, like, obviously you spoke about what's next and stuff, but I want to know in depth. What's your full aspirations? What's the next thing? What's the dream? And what's happening this year even?
This year, so we're looking into a grant. Hopefully get a studio maybe. I'm not too sure yet. But I'm looking at doing a runway on my birthday on my 21st. So
can I be one of the models? I am cutting right now. I've always wanted... You're not going to find another handsome, bold-headed individual to run down the runways. But it has to be modest. I don't like, cover the knees.
Yeah. We can do that. I'm not gonna say yes or no, but
Look, we wanted a yes here for the viewers. The viewers are keen for it.
Right, no one wants to see your head walking the end of the runway, right?
Look, you can chuck us some glasses. Give me some. Do all that.
You can. Stuff. How about this? I'll address you, and you can get a front.
You can walk around just outside the building. Why don't we give him an outfit? We'll all collectively create him an outfit and just walk around outside, cuzzy, while it's going on.
You won't be allowed into the venue.
Oh, come on. What about...
I'll give you a front row seat. I don't...
Yeah. I can be those guys that just sit down there.
The glasses.
I'm going to come with the glasses.
You're indoors, but you're wearing glasses.
And I'm going to pretend... Look, I'm going to sit like this, pretending like I know fashion.
And I'm just going...
And you just watch and you just...
Yeah. I'm going to give them the nods like that. I want the names there. But at the same time, it's got to be the whole team. So that's a bit of a tough one.
I'll give you a bit of an insight to one of the concepts I'm planning on doing with the runway. I don't know how, I haven't really worked it out yet, but the idea with the runway, oh my God.
That's that vape.
That's that great flavor.
There we go.
Very blast. No,
great pies. No, my voice is back. So basically, one of the ideas with it, I'm kind of connected. There's a lot of sub-communities of creators within Melbourne. So, like, there's a lot of smaller communities that kind of stick to their clique or whatever. And I kind of want to bring all those people together, but force them to sit next to people that they haven't talked to or don't know. Because, like, what could be born from that is, like, amazing collaborations and people meeting and talking to people that they never would have thought to, and then what am I saying? I'm rambling.
No, I get you. Yeah, they can network, they can get to know each other.
Bringing people together that usually wouldn't be in that same space, and just inspiring people to actually get to know people. Like, they might realize, wait, I actually really fuck with you. Why have I never talked to you before? Because I've been around so many different sub communities, and the all underlying thing is that we're all just passionate about art and creativity and what we do. So, we're not that different in that sense, but yeah.
So you have like a designer and then like a fresh out of prison artist.
Yeah.
So
honestly,
the vibe we're going for, yeah.
That's the vibe we're going for.
Lit.
Yeah.
Let's get it.
But that's one of the ideas I might do, might not. But yeah, definitely with the runway. Just
you got to invite us.
We'll come through. Whatever price, whatever, we're coming through.
We won't take the piece. Like, we'll actually be there serious.
Yeah.
Halfway through the show, I'm gonna see someone walking down. I'm gonna realize his buttons, like that one button's thing. I'm gonna do that Young Thug. Come on, fix up. You know, Young Thug in the runway where he fixes up the guy's thing and then he keeps walking. I want to do that.
Mash won't wear a husband beater.
But hey, we'd actually like that's something really exciting, you know.
Yeah.
And Jade, I'm not gonna lie. Look. I told you we're not like other podcasts, just flowers all session.
Yeah.
You know, we were a big thing, but I'm actually sold on you. I'm convinced like you actually love fashion and like I'm. At the start, as you remember, I told you I'm ignorant with this fashion stuff.
Yeah.
I always thought this is just some corny people trying to force the stuff.
Yeah.
Like at the start, even during lockdown, I remember when I seen these fashion guys running around and stuff. I'm like,
these
my
fashion
brother,
guys.
my brother, you're not wearing that in front of your African parents. Do you know what I mean? But like
Yeah.
now, I see the process, I see the creativity, and
Yeah.
I'm sold. You know, like I understand why people do this stuff.
Yeah.
It's a form of expression.
Yeah, and even just through this, like it's actually beyond even just a creative element of it. You have a big heart for like the planet. You actually have a big heart. I mean, I know it sounds super big
No,
like that and
I-
deep, but you actually do. It's a deep like you actually you see serious needs in the world,
Yeah.
serious issues. You know, even when we talk about sweatshops with the women in those countries as well. Like
I never knew that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mate, you did, mate. We all secretly know about it. You just don't.
Look, I never knew sweatshops were happening around the world.
This guy was trying to act, brother.
Brother, this shirt was made in. I got this in Malaysia, brother.
No, they got
Negotiated
made
with
by a
the guy.
3-year-old cuz.
Yeah, I know,
I'm telling
probably.
you, bro.
100%.
From Malaysia.
I'm taking this off. I'm wearing recycled goods from now on. Jada, what were you gonna say?
I was gonna say actually that there's definitely there's like these fashion influences that kind of ruin it for the people who are really passionate about fashion, but
That's what you're
just
saying,
the kids
passionate
that
fashion.
actually I've talked to some of these like they're like Rick demons. I don't know. They're just obsessed with Rick Owens. I've talked to them and they don't actually know shit about designers. They don't know the history of fashion. They don't know any of it. They're just like talking about the next cop and like they kind of ruin it for the people who actually are interested in learning constantly about the fashion industry and actually thinking about how we can better it and move it forward. So yeah.
So if you're up there, get out the way because Jada's coming
just
up and
educate
she knows her
yourself,
business.
bro.
She knows her
Educate yourself.
business.
Not that you have the internet, you're already on there like looking at the next Rick drop. So go and look at some fashion YouTubers or some shit.
Do your research.
Yeah.
Before we do wrap up, who you'd want to collab with? The top 3 was it? Top 3 dead.
We have a special question
Can we
sent in by
can we do
one of
Dead
our
or- Dead or
cameramen
Alive?
here,
I want
Sean.
to talk about someone who's passed who actually really inspires me.
Is it Virgil?
It can just be one.
Yes.
The thing,
What?
I don't want to talk bad about the dead. I wasn't gonna say.
No,
anything.
no.
I don't
Tell,
want to talk
tell
about
me
the
your
but-
view on Virgil because I'm
Who?
interested to hear.
Me, I'm not gonna lie to you. I rate Virgil hard.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I respect him and stuff. But after it, like, I don't know, like after like he passed away and stuff, I feel like it's just like this. There's this massive push. Like, remember when I was talking to you, like we were talking about the next Louis Vuitton person,
Yeah.
and then you were saying like, for example, it might be Pharrell or something like that. They were
It
looking at
is.
Pharrell,
Yeah.
and I was saying like, and then you were speaking about like how it has to be like, for example, another black person.
Yeah.
You know, like we were speaking about that, and I was like, I know Virgil set the standards, but like for example, with him, like obviously he passed away. You know, does it have to always be a colored person now in fashion? Like, just because he got into the door, kind of be like another
Whoever's just hungry
Asian,
and actually is
like,
passionate.
yeah,
about
someone that
that.
loves the fashion
Yeah.
industry. It doesn't have to be black. You know.
Yeah, no, I mean, it doesn't have to be, but it would make sense because he really did push culture forward and open so many doors for people of color in the industry. You know, since like he's changed so much. You know, seeing Louis Vuitton, so many black models, and now it's like touching on black history and all the campaigns they're doing. You know, Virgil did that. He changed so much, and I think it would make more sense. But once again, like when there was talk about Kids Super coming up as creative director, that also made sense because they have similar design languages. It's more so like the focus on community and you know, just pushing fashion forward. I think in that sense is where Virgil and Kids Super both thrive because they're very much community orientated, and fashion is also community is a big aspect of that. So
And I'll give flowers to Virgil. That's when he introduced that. He introduced the flowers to the industry.
Yeah.
Introduced the flowers. Introduced the community aspect to the industry. Like I feel like it wasn't really like he got the
opened so
rappers
many
in.
doors.
Yeah, like
The fashion industry before Virgil was so closed off, and he just like through his mentoring, his panels, he opened it up and like just left so many gems for people because the fashion industry has always been so private and secretive. You know, he's literally got a website, free game. This is really great for people who are wanting to learn how to start up a brand. He has every step of the way of how to start a brand, and it's really thorough. So just
He made
things
that
like
free. It's called Free Game.
Free Game, yeah.
Check out Free Game.
Yeah.
Free Game.
And he's left so much show notes from each of his runways for Louis Vuitton, Off-White. It goes so into depth about the concepts and stuff behind it, so you can actually understand what was trying to be communicated if you don't get it straight off the bat. So
I do take that back. What I said, Virgil, you're the GOAT.
yeah, definitely. I think I was having this conversation the other day. Some people only see Virgil for like the yellow Off-White belts or stuff, but if you actually look deeper into what he has to offer and like you listen to just give him even 30 minutes of him talking, it'll change your mentality and change your outlook on him as well as a designer, because he's really intelligible.
So he's number one.
Yeah.
Any others, or you just want to say just Virgil?
Nah, surely she's got two more at least. She's
Definitely,
she
yeah.
loves the industry.
Virgil and Kid Super. He's Colm. I've forgotten his last name, but Colm. He's really sick too. I watched his documentary recently. He went to Paris for Paris Fashion Week, but off calendar they rejected him. What he did, he printed the Paris rejection letter onto the first or the last piece on the runway, and he showed it in Paris Fashion Week, which I think is
That's
just
gangster.
so yeah, it's
That
so
is gangster.
ironic and like iconic. And you know, right, like a week before he was flying to Paris, he was in this tiny studio in New York dyeing garments in the bath of this little studio, and it just like it really goes to show, you know, if he can do it, I can do it too. You know, from sewing on my ground of my apartment, it gives creatives like us hope that we can too get these opportunities. It's in reach, you know. So yeah, I think Virgil and Colm, and I don't know, Dion Lee as well. She's an Australian designer, but she's really elevated. She's also sustainable, also like really innovative with her designs. So yeah, I think those would be my big three. But in terms of local artists, I want to work with as many as possible. I think Melbourne is so full of talent, and you know, I'm working on multiple collaborations right now. So
We could potentially get, look, we've been working on merchandise, you know, and stuff, and we don't want to just chuck a logo on.
yeah,
So Jaida, I might have to hit you up and say, listen, we need a design,
yeah.
and we need to collab with JaidaTheCreator.
And we're going to do a Talking Trophies runway.
Yeah, we're going to do a Talking Trophies runway, and you're going to be the designer, and that's what we're going for.
That's a lot of work, but
100%.
if you cut out for it, then
Yeah, let's get a grant. Community grants out there. Chuck us $30,000 and we'll get something going.
Get it sorted.
Jaida, once again, I want to thank you for jumping on.
Thank
You're
you for
actually
having
an
me.
amazing individual.
For real.
Like, what you're doing is amazing. What you spoke about was amazing. And I think you got a lot of potential, and you've got your recognition in Melbourne, and I think it's time for you to spread it across Australia and the world.
In the world, for sure. 100%.
Yeah.
Hopefully,
You're real. 100%. That's without a
Yeah.
doubt. I think one big thing is that you're true to yourself. So true. Some people come when they hop on a camera, you just see them, they change personalities, or some people are different, but off camera,
Yeah.
same vibe. Like, you're the same person, and that's very rare to find. Some people have big heads. You're 2021, and you've done big things. You've actually
It doesn't
done,
even feel like it, because it's just like the tip of the iceberg for me. Like, knowing my full potential, I feel like this is still only the beginning. But
and it really is.
yeah,
It really is. So there's so much more to unravel. So, hey, viewers, check
Suss her
her
out.
out. Check her out.
Suss her out. If
please.
you're trying to get into fashion and stuff, message her and ask her for some tips.
Yeah, I'm
or
always
visit
open, always
freegame.com. But once again, JaidaTheCreator, thanks for jumping on. Make sure
Thank
you
you
guys
for
do
having
hit
me.
that subscribe button.
Share it
Enjoy your night.
around.
Check out the audio too if you want to hear the voices. I think because YouTube's a bit strict, so I think we got to take out the swearing and this stuff. But
just
if you,
censor it. Do a
yeah,
beep.
we'll do the beep. But if you want to hear the full swearing and you're a bit R-rated, you can just jump over to Spotify or Apple Music. But besides that, enjoy your night. Stay humble. Faith.